August 10th, 2021. This is Ingwe Immigration's live question answer period. We do update you on what's going on with the latest Canadian immigration regulations. Live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This is a live question answer period, so you can post your questions on the comment section of whatever platform you're on, and we will answer live. Okay. Latest news: express entry points are above 400 points for CEC, Canadian Experience Class. So that's bad news, right? It is news, but it is bad news for a lot of people who were expecting lower points. If you are outside of Canada and you were studying remotely and your study permit expired, okay, and you've graduated, so you're outside of Canada, you're finishing your course here in college or university, your study permit maybe expired in the last 6 months, and you graduated, you are now eligible for a postgraduate work permit. Okay, so that's huge. That's very good news for many applicants who went home during the pandemic to their home countries and continue to study online. But they forgot or didn't think they needed to renew their study permit. Why? Is because they thought that they're outside of Canada. So why would they need to renew a study permit? So they graduated remotely online for a big portion of their studies. Their study permit expires. Now they check the website of IRCC, which is the Canadian Immigration Department, and they're like, oh, I cannot apply for postgraduate work permit. But no, you are eligible to apply for postgraduate work with the new policy that was introduced in the last 7, 8, 9 days. I don't remember the exact date. So that is great news for anybody who was studying remotely, their study permit expired, and they graduated, and now they had no clue on the postgraduate work permit process. They are eligible now. So this is some big news from the Canadian immigration side of things. And for anybody joining us now, all you need to do is post your questions on our comment section, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. We'd love to answer some of your live questions and bring in more viewers to help out, right? So that's why we're here. We're here for you, okay? So even if you can ask, so one question, help one person from avoiding being refused, from avoiding making a big mistake, or from avoiding applying to a program they're not eligible for, that's satisfaction to us, right? And we're here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time. So in your home country, I don't know where that is. That could be, I don't know, in Latin America, it could be 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. depending on where. It could be in the Middle East. It could be like 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. And midnight. So it really depends on where you are. We're here to answer all your questions. There are some people, by the way, for the TR to PR pathway. So applicants from inside of Canada who have applied for the permanent residency through the temporary TR to PR federal program are being processed. So we have heard of certain applicants receiving their confirmation and acknowledgement of their permanent residency application. So that is also big news. Okay, so that means that these files are being processed and there's some correspondences being sent to applicants for the TR to PR pathway. Many people still have not heard back, but a few cases are now that what we're hearing in the market, receiving correspondences. Okay, we had some other questions. What if somebody works overseas for a Canadian employer? Okay, so you're on payroll, but you're in your own home country and you do have a work permit, but because of the pandemic, you're not inside Canada. Does that mean that you're gaining Canadian work experience eligible for express entry, CEC. CEC means Canadian Experience Class. No, you have to be inside of Canada. This is for work experience, not for education at the moment. Work experience, okay? So if anybody has any questions about your specific situation, Robin Singh, how are you? Then we'd be happy to clarify, okay? So remember, you can study online overseas, but you cannot gain Canadian work experience overseas, even if you are on payroll working for a Canadian company, okay? For express entry. You could even get your co-op work permit while you're overseas and work for an employer, but it will not count for express entry. Okay, so this is extremely important. And if anybody is joining us now, again, post your questions on whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. We will answer the questions live here today. We're here every Tuesday, 9 a.m., 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so there's a question on our Instagram. They're asking, if you choose studies program to migrate, you help with all the immigration process until receive the residence. Yes, of course. So we help many students come over to Canada with school admission, study plan, visa, right? After they arrive, they also work with us for their work permit afterwards. And then when they're eligible, with Canadian work experience or support from a Canadian employer, they process their PR, and usually they prefer to work with us. So we're always available to them to help out, answer their questions. And that's why many students work with our agency, because we're a licensed immigration company, right? We're not just going to send you to school and be like, hey, good luck, hope to see you on the other side. No way. We help them all the way, but you always can choose that, hey, I want to work with another immigration company. That's fine. We do bring in the students here, and they usually prefer to work with us going forward. So yes, we are a resource. We are a center for immigration information, advice, and consultations. And we can help you with the application. And if you prefer to do your application yourself, that's perfectly fine. That's why we're here every Tuesday answering your questions. And if you cannot afford our services, well, we have different packages to make it affordable, right? So if somebody's inside of Canada and they're like, hey, Reza, how much do you charge for express entry from inside Canada? I said, well, we charge this price. They're like, well, that's a lot. Well, I say, we have these other packages. We have the do-it-yourself package, right? Where you give us your file, we review it, we give you one round of comments, feedback, and notes. Or just a consultation. Maybe you book a 1-hour consultation and we answer all your questions, right? I mean, you could ask your questions here and I'd answer them live, but if not, you can just book a consultation and I'll charge you, X amount per hour. You can also book half an hour, 30 minutes, if it's a few questions. And we even have micro consultations. What's a micro consultation? Well, you have 1 or 2 quick questions or just one question. You don't want to spend all this money on lawyers and consultants. You don't want to pay all that money for a 1-hour consultation. You would buy a micro consultation. You'd come in on a Zoom session with us and we'd answer you. And you'd be like, Reza, I want to fill out my form this, or I have this question. Am I eligible for this? And that's it. A micro consultation is cheap, it's fast, and it gets the job done. If you need the full package, that's available too. So yeah, the point is we do help all of our clients, no matter if they came here themselves or we help them come over as students with an admission, with a study plan, with an approved visa, right? And you will know exactly what to expect when you arrive to Canada, because we will guide you and we will help and prepare you. Okay, there's another question from Planet Isha. Is that how you do? Or Plain Tisha? Maybe it's plain Isha, right? Or planet Isha. You have to tell me. So there's a question. Can an applicant, while awaiting spousal open work permit, apply for a visitor visa? Okay, I assume they're inside of Canada, right? And I assume the visa has expired, but they have status inside of the country. So there's a few components here to figure out. What is their status right now inside Canada, if they are inside Canada? 2, I assume their visa expired, but they have status in Canada under a visitor record, or within the first 6 months of them arriving to Canada, or maybe their work permit or study permit, right? So if that's the case, yes, right? You can, if you have a work permit or you have something else, but typically visitor visas have to be processed outside of Canada through the embassy. However, there's 2 policies you need to be aware of, okay? 1, if you have a study permit or work permit valid, or you can even restore it, you can apply for a visitor visa from inside of Canada. 2, there's a COVID-19 policy, a temporary policy that allows you to apply for a visitor visa from outside, but while you're inside. This is a temporary policy. So it depends on your situation. That's the thing, you know, it becomes complicated. But yes, it could be yes and no, depending on your status, depending on where you are. So everything is possible. You just need to know all the regulations, all the little details, okay? Let's see if there's any other questions. Our Instagram viewers are much more active than our Facebook viewers, by the way. And our YouTube viewers, they're just, I guess, asleep having coffee. I wouldn't mind having coffee either, but I don't drink caffeine. Do I look hyper? Yes, and that's without caffeine. So make sure if you ever invite me for a lunch, a coffee or tea, you don't give me coffee with caffeine. So Subi Mohammed 716 is asking a question on our Instagram. Sorry, sir, how can I move to Canada to work there? If you have knowledge about it, let us know what the way for to do it. Okay, so Subi, that's a very general question. That's like, hey, how can I find a husband and wife to marry? Okay, that's how general your question is. It's a good question, but we first check eligibility and then we propose what program you're eligible to apply. Okay, so there's education, there's skilled workers, there's job offers, there's business immigration, there's investment, there's startup visas. So there's self-employed, art. So if you're in the arts or cultural or athletic occupations, there's a self-employed stream. So the point is, that's a very general question. I cannot answer because I don't know your profile. Planet Isha. Okay, thanks for the clarification. That's a cool name, by the way, Planet Isha. No, they're outside of Canada. Yes. So Planet Isha, going back. So they've applied for an open spousal work permit while the other spouse is inside of Canada studying and or working. That's very important. So if they're already inside of Canada studying and working and the other spouse is back home, applied for an open spousal work permit, they can apply for a visitor visa. But if the open spousal work permit is approved, they will give you an entry visa to go to Canada. So I'm not sure why you would want to apply for a visa separately. Danny Conde 23 is asking a question on our Instagram. We should have a competition. You know, which platform there's more questions and we'll give out prizes. YouTube viewers, they're asleep. Facebook, they're probably having a nice bagel, cream cheese bagel, and they're busy eating. But Instagram is live and they're asking questions. Here's another question from our Instagram viewers. I applied under this Express Entry Canadian Experience class for PR and just got a letter for confirmation portal for PR. Does this mean PR was approved? Yes, but you don't have your PR yet. So you're 99% on the way, okay? So yes, but it's not 100% unless you see the COPR letter, okay? So if that's what you're talking about, the COPR, confirmation of PR, yes, that's your letter. You have to send in your pictures and your details. they will issue you a card. So you are a PR if you have a COPR, confirmation PR, but you cannot travel outside of Canada with that. When you come back in, they won't let you in. So you need your PR card. That might take an extra few months. But if you do have the final letter of confirmation, yes. If you just have an acknowledgement and it's one step before that, then no. It's almost there, but not 100%. Let's see any other questions. We're here till a little bit longer for our viewers on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Again, if you're just joining us, we do answer the questions regarding any eligibility, your specific immigration question. If you're outside of Canada, inside, it doesn't matter. You're a student, you're a worker, your family, your business, you're an investor, you're an entrepreneur. You post your questions, we'll answer it. Again, the latest news before we want to sign off, express entry, over 400 points for Canadian experience class. So, okay, this was the latest draw. This is bad news. Second point is students who were studying and finishing their Canadian studies back home during COVID. They were studying remotely and they graduated, but their study permit had expired already. And it's been over 6 months. Now you're eligible for a postgraduate work permit. So that's great news. So that was bad news and good news from IRCC, Canadian Immigration. And if there's any other policies, we'll update you next Tuesday. We're here to answer your questions every Tuesday, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And if I talk too fast, you can go back to our Instagram feed or Facebook or YouTube and play back this video, and I will be speaking very slowly because you can probably slow down the video, okay? And you can pause it. But yeah, we have short amount of time, questions, and I have to make sure everybody is aware of all the regulations, policies, and whatnot, okay? And the one final question before we sign off is we have a question that says, this was something we received previously, my work permit is expiring. And what options do I have to renew it? Well, if it was an employer specific closed work permit, you don't have many options except having an employer renew the LMIA or approval and to apply for a new work permit from inside of Canada. Another question that we always receive is, I'm on a closed work permit and I want to switch employers. Well, it's very difficult unless you resign and go back to your home country, get a new employer to sponsor you, or the employer abuses you or doesn't pay you or is not following the contract that you signed originally with them. Okay, so this is just a quick update, everybody. We've been online since 9 a.m. It's 9:21 a.m. right now in Toronto. I don't want to repeat everything we just said, but we'll be back here today, 5 p.m. Okay, so 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 4 p.m. in Peru, Colombia, and South America, depending some areas of Brazil, that could be anywhere from 2 to 5 p.m. So we'll be back here. So you didn't miss out on the session. Come back with your questions, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Today, 5 p.m. North America Eastern Standard Time, which is local time in Toronto, New York, Miami, Ottawa, Montreal. We'll be back here to answer your questions. Okay. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you later today. Goodbye to Facebook and bye-bye for Instagram and YouTube. Live question answer period. We do